Okay, let's talk about this paper. So we're on 2.2, 2.3, writing proportional and non-proportional equations. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick two different colors, and that says pencils. Just pick highlighters. You don't need to rewrite this, it's not a big deal. Pick two different highlighters from the table. Now there might not be enough on the table for each person to have their own two, so just share and just grab the two colors when you need them. So I'm picking orange and pink. You can pick whichever two you want. You're going to decide which color is going to represent your rate of change or your M, and I'm going to have mine be pink. And then decide which one's going to be your y-intercept or your starting point, and mine's going to be orange for this example. Okay, then we're going to highlight each representation in the situations below. So talking about these situations right here, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to just go through and highlight each of these. There's a part on the back. Highlight which one is the M, or your rate of change, and which one is your y-intercept, or your starting point, sorry. Now remember, when we're talking about rate of change, there's those key words that we've mentioned: per, each, every. Now it might say something slightly different than this, but it should be close. And then this y-intercept one is going to talk about something about how it starts off at this point. Okay, now sometimes they won't have a y-intercept. If they're proportional, remember, they won't have a y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to do the first couple with you, and then you're going to do the rest on your own. So let's talk about this first one, the situation. So I've got my two highlighters ready, and it says Ray's Ice Cream Shop. At Ray's Ice Cream Shop, the cost per scoop of ice cream is 75 cents. So this has that per in there, and that lets me know that it's my rate of change, or my M. So I'm going to highlight that in pink. So the cost per scoop of ice cream is 75 cents. Okay, now notice how that doesn't talk about any kind of starting rate or anything like that. So for this one, we don't have to use this color, whatever you put in this box right here. For me, it's orange. So this one, and then you can do this too. Take whatever color you put here and highlight it here. This one, this one, this one. Flip it over, highlight the M's in that same color. Okay, this helps you to know what you're looking for and what goes where. Okay. So I know that because my M is that one that has that each, that every, or that per, it's that unit rate or rate of change. And this one right here only has a unit rate, right? It's 75 cents per one scoop. I know that that's my rate of change. So I'm just going to put 70.75 here. Okay. Over here is where we talk about their meaning, so you don't need labels on this one, only labels over here. So then my starting point, or my y-intercept, because it doesn't have one here, it's 0. Doesn't talk about any kind of starting fee or, any kind of base rate or anything like that to get the ice cream, so it's 0. Just automatically assume it's 0 if there's nothing there. So the equation for this one, because my y-intercept is 0, remember it's going to, and this is your orange, by the way, if you want to go through and highlight all those orange. It's going to be in the form of y equals mx. Okay, so I have my y's already here. My m is this rate of change, so it's 0.75, and then I just attach the x to it. Now, because it's in this form, because it has a starting point of 0, it's automatically proportional. Okay, so now let's talk about what these actually mean. It says, in words, what do the following represent? So what does this M represent? Basically, you just have to kind of copy what's over here as long as you understand it. This 75 cents means that it's 75 cents per scoop. That's all it means. Just exactly what it says here. Okay? So if I was to write this out in ratio, it would be like this. 75 cents to 1 scoop. Like that. Okay, the y-intercept, remember the y-intercept was 0. So in words, what did the following represent? The fact that my starting point is 0 means that if I buy 0 scoops, I'm going to pay $0. And that's going to look like this as an ordered pair. Okay, 0 scoops, $0. All right, let's try this next one down here now. All right, so I've got both my highlighters ready. I'm looking for the words each, every, or per in there, or something related to those words that I'll use for my pink, and then something that tells me it's a starting point for something with my orange, okay, for my y-intercept. So it says a balloon is released from the top of a 50-foot building. The balloon flies at a constant rate of 2 feet per second. Okay, there's that key word, that per. So I'm going to highlight this in pink. 2 feet per second. That's my rate. It even tells me it's a constant rate right there. Now this 50 feet, if the building is already 50 feet high, so that's my starting. It's a 50-foot building, so it's starting 50 feet off the ground before the balloon is even let go. All right, so now let's just kind of fill this in. So again, my pink is the 2, and remember I told you you don't need labels on this section. Labels go over here. And my y-intercept, or my starting point, is this 50 feet. It's starting at 50 feet high. Okay. Now my equation, because it has a y-intercept that's not 0, it's going to be in the form of y equals mx plus b. Remember, this is your b. I forgot to put that in there. Sorry, I should have put that in there like I put the m. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take my y equals, it's already written for me. My m is my rate of change, or my unit rate, which is 2. Attach the x to it. And then I'm going to add my b, or my y-intercept, which is 50. Okay, since it has something here at the end of it, if it was just right there, it would be proportional, but it's not. It's got this plus 50. This plus 50 makes it non-proportional, so no, it's not proportional. Okay, now let's talk about what these mean in words. So in words, what do the following represent? So again, basically it's just what you highlighted. So this 2, this slope right here of 2, this rate of change, this unit rate, this is what it means. It means that the balloon is going 2 feet per second. Now, if I was writing that out as a ratio, I would write 2 feet per 1 second. Okay. My y-intercept is 50. Now, what does it mean? It means at 0 seconds, it's already at 50 feet. Okay, before we even let it go, it's already at 50 feet. This would look like this as an ordered pair. Always 0 first, and then that y-intercept is second. It's the point 050. Okay? Now, just so you know, this one right here is a little tricky. This one on the back, so turn to it really quick. I'm going to kind of help walk you through a part of it really quick. So it says the Walkie Club started their hike at sea level, and they ascended, which means they go up, half a mile every 10 minutes. So this is that every, there's that key word right there, that every. That's what lets me know it's my unit rate, or my rate of change. In fact, in this case, it's just a rate. And I'll explain that to you here in a second. Now, it says that they start their hike at sea level. Hopefully you all know that sea level is 0. Okay, the elevation of sea level is 0. So this is kind of just a way of saying that they started at the point 0. Okay, so because sea level equals an elevation of 0 feet, we're just going to assume that they started at 0, and so my starting point, I'm not going to really have a starting point. It's going to be 0. Okay. Now let's talk about this really quick. This is half a mile every 10 minutes. Remember, a rate of change, or unit rate, needs to have 1 as the denominator. So we actually need to figure out the unit rate for this one before we can put it in as our rate of change, or our unit rate. So it's half a mile every 10 minutes. And I should have used different things. So what we need to do is divide both of these by 10 to get it to a unit rate. And if you divide half by 10, you get a 500th. So it looks like this, and you can do it in your calculator just so that you know. So they're climbing, or they're going up 500th of a mile every minute. Okay, so this right here is now your M. From there, hopefully you guys can fill that rest of that in. Okay, all right. So you're going to get this done. When you're done, make sure you turn it in. Actually check with the sub for the key so that you can check how you did. And if you have any questions, you can ask a neighbor, or the sub might be able to help. So if you have questions or you weren't sure about one, maybe circle it, and then make sure this gets turned in the bucket before you leave class today, because it's due in class today. And then we will go over it next class before we take the quiz. All right, guys, thanks.